ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ದಿವರಾತ್ರಿ ಎನ್ನದೆ ವಿಷಯಲಂಪಟನಾಗಿ ಸವಿಯೂಟಗಳನ್ನುಂಡು ಭ್ರಮಿಸಬೇಡ. ಅವನ ಕೊಂದಿವನ ಕೊಂದರ್ಥವನು ಗಳಿಸುವೊಡೆ, ಜವನ ದೂತರು ಬರುವ ಹೊತ್ತು ನೀನರಿಯೇ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಹೊಸ ಮನೆಯ ಕಟ್ಟಿದೆನು ಗೃಹ ಶಾಂತಿ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ, ಬಸುರಿ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮಗನ ಮದುವೆ ನಾಳೆ. ಹಸನಾಗಿ ಇದೆ ಬದುಕು ಸಾಯಲಾರೆನು ಎನಲು, ಕುಸುರಿದರಿಯದೆ ಬಿಡರು ಯಮನವರು ಆಗ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಪುತ್ರ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ದಿವಸ ಹಾಲು ಊಟದ ಹಬ್ಬ, ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಮಗನ ಉಪನಯನ ನಾಳೆ. ಹಸನಾಗಿ ಇದೆ ಬದುಕು ಸಾಯಲಾರೆನು ಎನಲು, ಮೃತ್ಯುಗೆಡ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಗುತ್ತಿರ್ಪುದರಿಯೇ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಅಟ್ಟಡಿಗೆ ಉಣಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಷ್ಟದ ಋಷನವಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಸಾಲವ ಕೇಳುವ ಹೊತ್ತ ನರಿಯೇ. ಕಟ್ಟಲೆ ತುಂಬಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಷಣ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟರೊಳಗೆ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ. ಅಂತಕನದೂತರಿಗೆ ಕಿಂಚಿತ್ತು ದಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿಂತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಯ ನೆನೆ ಮನವೇ.
Om सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let us chant from the beginning. ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ दशमोऽध्यायः विभूतियोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया न मे विदुःसुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः यो मामजमनादिं च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम् सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः। So the 10th chapter begins with Bhagavān taking the initiative of once again giving the same knowledge to Arjuna. Bhūya eva, Arjuna, once again I will give you this highest knowledge. Listen to these supreme words of mine. I am repeating it because you are extremely dear to me. I am repeating it because it will do you immense good. Then, this knowledge I alone have to tell you because, as far as my origin is concerned, nobody else knows the great secret about me, who I am. Nobody knows. Even the Devatas, even the Rishiganas, even they don't know because I only have created them. So how will they know about me? The one who knows me as infinite, as immortal, as beginningless, such a person becomes free from all sorrows, becomes liberated. And who am I? I am Lokamaheshwaram, the Lord of the whole universe. Means what? I am the one who controls the inner world as well as the outer world. So in what way, Bhagavan, you control the inner world? The various kinds of emotions, the feelings, thoughts, etc., they are born of me. So some samples are given. Buddhi, jnanam, asammoha, kshama, satyam, damashamaha, sukham, dukham, bhavo, bhavo, bhayam cha, bhayam evacha. Some samples are given, and then Bhagavan says, all these feelings and emotions, actually, they are born out of me. Now a question may come, if all these feelings are coming out of Bhagavan, then naturally a person who is committing crime, a criminal, that criminal tendency also must be coming from Bhagavan only, isn't it? So, Bhagavan, such a question might come. So then we have to say, even in a criminal person, if he looks within, he will know that whenever he is going to do a crime, what comes within? Bhayam is there, fear is there. There is this voice of conscience which tells him that what he is going to do is wrong. Even before the crime is committed, there is a feeling of disturbance in the mind. So who creates that disturbance? So don't say that criminal tendency is given by God. In fact, that criminal tendency is his own creation. He doesn't listen to Bhagavan and then he does the crime. This way we have to understand. So he is doing crime not by listening to the Lord, but by ignoring the voice of conscience, which is nothing but the voice of the Lord. This is the way we have to analyze. So everybody is guided. The mistake we do is we don't listen to his guidance. This is the mistake. The more and more we listen to him, the lesser and lesser we suffer in the world, the more and more the happiness, peace, bliss, etc. becomes our experience. Right. Now the inner world is spoken about. Now the outer world. Verse number 6. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha madbhava manasa jataha yesham loka imaf prajaha maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastatha madbhava manasa jataha yesham loka imaf prajaha. So Bhagavan says, even the outer world, Arjuna, whatever you see, it has all come from me alone. So Bhagavan, what all have come from you? Maharshayah sapta. Sapta maharshayah. 7 maharshis. 7 maharshis means Sapta Rishis. The Sapta Rishis. Purve Chatvaraha. But before that, Chatvaraha. The 4 Rishis. Who are they? Sanakadi Rishis. Sanak, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. Purve. They were born even before these Sapta Rishis. Manavastatha. The 14 Manus. Madbhava Manasa jataha. From my mind they have come. They are all Madbhava. Madbhava means of my nature. Or Madbhava can mean they were all devoted to me. Their minds were fixed in me. Madbhava Manasa jata. And from them, Esham loke imaf prajaha. From them came all these beings, human beings. Now, if you have to understand this, you must have had the background of Puranas, especially the Bhagavata Purana. That scripture speaks about how the creation comes into being. So in that, it is described, the first being to be born was Brahmājī, Brahma. So what is described there is very interesting. So Brahmājī, he was the first one whom the Lord created. And what did he find? Brahmājī, when he opened his eyes, it was as though waking up from sleep. He was the first one to be created. So he looked around and nobody was there. There was only water. It is called as Pralaya Jalam. Just after Pralaya, the creation is just beginning. So he looked around and there was only this Pralaya Jalam, causal waters. He did not understand who is he, where he has come from. But he was seated on a lotus. So he thought, maybe I'll find the root of this lotus. So through the stem, it is said, he went to find out where exactly it is growing. For years together he travelled, he could not find the, root. Again he came back, he was frightened. And then with closed eyes he prayed, "Oh Lord, save me." So at that time it is said, he heard these two letters, Tapa. Tapa, Tapa, twice he heard. Tapa means what? Do tapas. This he heard. From where he heard? He doesn't know. This sound came from as though from Akasha. So then he sits and meditates. He does tapas for 1000 years. And when he did this tapas for 1000 years, the Lord was pleased, and then Lord came in front of him and then blessed him. And then gave this knowledge. Which knowledge? The self-knowledge. That this Lord who has created the whole world, this Lord is not somewhere outside, he is none other than the very consciousness in us. After giving this knowledge, Bhagavān also gave him the way in which the whole creation has to be done. So after gaining this knowledge from the Lord, Brahmājī does this creation. And whom does he create first? This Purve Tattvataha. And now these are all, first initially, the children born to Brahmājī, they are all Mānasa-putras, mind-born children. So first he creates Sanakadi Rishis. Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumar. So, the 4 children, Sanakadi Rishis, he created. Then Brahmājī instructed them, get into Grihastha-ashrama and procreate. The Sanakadi Rishi said, no. The purpose of life is only one, to realize God. And all the 4, they walked out. They took sannyasa and walked out. Brahmājī was very angry. And it is said, from this anger came Rudra. All these stories are very interesting in Puranas. So even today, when children take to sannyas, parents don't like. Why? Even Brahmājī did the same thing. After that, he created Saptarishis. And they instructed the Saptarishis. Who are the Saptarishis? So in some Purana it is written, Bhrugum Marichim Matrim Cha Pulastyam Pulaham Kratum Vasishtam Cha Mahateja Sosrajat Mānasa-sutan. So it is written, they are the Saptarishis. Bhrugu, Marichi, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Vasishta. So Saptarishis were created, and then the same instruction was given. Get into Grihastha-ashrama and create. They listened. So they got married and then children. So that is what is being said. Esham loke imaf prajaha. So from them, and then the 14 Manus also. Manu also got married. Vaivaswata Manu and Shatarupa, they got married. And then the Vamsha Parampara began. So what Bhagavān is telling here is, even this external world that we see, all the human beings, the external world also has come from me alone. That is the essence. Nothing more. Right? So now, see the next verse. Verse number 7. Etam vibhūtim yogam cha Mama yo viti tattvatāha Tattvataha Sovikampena yogena Yujyate natra samshayah Etam vibhūtim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha sovikampena yogena yujyate natra samshayah. The one who knows what mama vibhūtim yogam cha, the one who knows my vibhuti and my yoga, tattvataha, in reality, in essence, such a person avikampena yogena yujyate na atra samshayah. Such a person gets united with me in avikampa yoga. Avikampa means what? Vikampa means tremor, trembling. So avikampa yoga means unwavering yoga, meaning he gets firmly established in me. Who? The one who knows vibhuti and yoga. My vibhuti and yoga. Now the question is, what do you mean vibhuti and yoga? So in this context, it has a different meaning. What do you mean Bhagwan's yoga, or rather yoga and vibhuti? What is yoga? The capacity, the talent, the ability which a person has, before this talent coming into manifestation outside, is called yoga. And the moment this talent, this ability is expressed in the outer world, then that ability is called vibhuti. For example, a great singer. Now, as long as he doesn't sing, nobody knows that he is a great singer. But he knows that I can sing well. Now, this we say is yoga. He has the ability, but it has not yet expressed in the outer world. Then that is yoga. But the moment he sings, the whole world comes to know. That singing which others are able to hear, then that is called as vibhuti. The ability, the capacity, the talent which we have, which has not yet expressed outside, but which remains in us in a potential form, then that is called as yoga. The world has not known, only this person knows. But the moment it expresses outside, it becomes vibhuti. Something like potential energy. What is potential energy? Energy is there, but you don't see the expression of that energy. But the very same potential energy becomes kinetic energy, and then you see that energy. It is expressed. In the same way, these abilities, the talent, the strength, all those things, the glories, in the potential form. So when the whole creation is in pralaya avastha, in a state of dissolution, then Bhagwan's all those potentials, that is in yoga state. But when the creation begins, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, when the whole creation comes into expression, then that is called as Vibhuti of Bhagavan. It expresses itself. The omniscience, the omnipotence, the omnipresence of Bhagavan is expressed when the creation comes into effect. So that is the meaning of yoga and vibhuti here. So etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha. The one who knows tattvataha, in essence, in reality, the one who knows my yoga and vibhuti, such a person, he becomes firmly established in me without any wavering. He becomes rooted in me. Bhagavan, will you please explain what exactly you mean tattvataha veti? He knows it in essence, in reality. What is it that which he knows? Will you please elaborate on it? Yes. So that is the next verse. Elaboration on what this Tattvajnanam is. Verse number 8. aham sarvasya prabhavah mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha aham sarvasya prabhavah mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. What is that knowledge which they have, because of which they, without a wavering mind, firmly get established in the Lord? What is that knowledge? This knowledge is this: aham sarvasya prabhavah. Bhagavan says, I am the origin of everything. Mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything functions, exists, acts, remaining in me. Sarvam, everything, the whole world. So this is that knowledge which he had spoken in the beginning, Param-vachaha. What is that? The whole world has no existence by itself. I give existence to the whole world. Remaining in me, this world functions. I am the creator of the world, and the whole world exists in me, functions in me. This is the knowledge. It is exactly like how the gold ornaments, where do they exist? They exist in gold. Remove gold from gold ornaments, what remains? Nothing. So therefore gold can say, all the gold ornaments, they originate from me, they exist in me. Yes or no? In the same way, all the clay can claim, all the pots and pans, they originate from me, they exist in me, they dissolve in me. Without me, they don't have any existence. The wooden furnitures, they exist in wood. The waves, they exist in water. So water can claim that all these waves, they come in me, they exist in me, they dissolve in me, they disappear in me. So when Bhagavan is saying this term, aham sarvasya prabhavah mattas sarvam pravartate, when Bhagavan says this, what does it mean? It means, Arjuna, there is nothing other than me. All these gold ornaments, they are only names of certain forms. But in essence, what is gold ornament? It is nothing but gold. Isn't it? In the same way, the whole world with so many names and forms and so many things. Now, there is a great secret which again Bhagavan is revealing to Arjuna. Arjuna, you may see so many beings in this world, things and beings, they don't have their own independent existence. What exists is only me. The whole world is only an appearance on me. So what exists? God alone exists. This is the truth. But what about the world which I am seeing in front? It is a mere appearance. It has no independent reality. It has no independent existence. It is exactly like the whole dream world. While we are dreaming, we think there is such a big world in front of me, etc. But once we wake up, what do we come to realize? Other than me, nobody else was, isn't it? So this is the truth which Bhagavan reveals, which he is again repeating, as he said, Bhūya eva in the beginning. This truth was already mentioned, but once again I am telling you, because it's a fact. And this knowledge can put an end to all your miseries. So we must have discussed this topic before. How can you say that there is only God and there is nothing else? So God Himself, He defines as the very consciousness in us. So the whole world, where do we see this world? We see it in our mind. And what is mind? Mind is nothing but flow of thoughts. So the whole world is nothing but thoughts in the mind. Without the mind, there is no world. How do we know? In deep sleep, we don't experience the world. And whoever is experiencing the world, he is experiencing it through the mind. So therefore we say, the world has no existence independent of the mind, because only through the mind you see the world. Now mind is nothing but thoughts. And now where do these thoughts remain? All these thoughts remain in consciousness. I am conscious of my thoughts. So therefore, what is the substratum upon which the thought waves appear and disappear? These thought waves appear and disappear in the consciousness. So therefore I say, I am aware of my thoughts. I am aware. So this awareness principle is what we call as God principle. So the whole world exists in mind. Mind is nothing but thoughts. Thoughts appear in awareness. So therefore, what is the essence of this world? Nothing but awareness. So therefore, this awareness can say, other than me, there is nothing. What exists is only awareness, which is God. So when the wise people know this, what do they do? Iti matva bhajante mam buddhaha. Buddhaha means the wise people. The people who know this great truth. And what is the truth? Brahma-satyam Jagat-mithyā. This Brahman, this consciousness alone is a reality, alone is truth. Rest everything is a mere appearance. Don't pay attention to these appearances. Pay attention to the essence, the reality. Because all our sorrows are because we chase the appearances and we forget the reality. This is true in any field. The moment you forget the reality and chase the appearances, in the end you will suffer. Yes or no? Appearances are deceptive. So what is the mistake we do? We chase the what you call deceptive appearances and we forget the reality. This is the source of sorrow. So wise people, what do? Iti matva, they know this great truth. Buddhaha, they are the wise people. They are not mudhaha, they are buddhaha, wise people. What do? Bhava samanvitaha mam bhajante. With full of devotion, bhava samanvitaha, with full of devotion, they adore me, glorify me, worship me, serve me, meditate upon me. This is what is being said. Bhava samanvitaha. Because they know the reality. They know the truth. Now, how do they worship you, Bhagavān? Will you please elaborate of how these Mahatmas, they worship you? The next verse, verse number 9. Macchittav madgatav prāṇaha bodhayantav parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha macchitta madgatav prāṇaha bodhayantav parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Yes. Bhava samanvitaha buddhaha mam bhajante. The wise people, they with lot of devotion, they worship me. With what kind of yoga? Avikampena yogena. In the previous verse it is said, with unwavering yoga. Why there is unwaveringness? It is because they know this Bhagavan is everything. They know this consciousness which I experience every moment, this awareness in me, this is none other than Bhagavān. This awareness is the very support of the whole world. So where is their attention? Upon the world or upon this consciousness? Upon consciousness. Where is their love and attachment? Not upon the world, not upon the passing show of the world. Their attention is upon themselves in that pure consciousness. That is called as avikampa yoga. There is no wavering. Why there is no wavering? Other than this consciousness, nothing else exists. The truth upon which everything is projected, that truth is this consciousness in me. Just like the film screen, so many things you see in the film, movie, but actually what alone exists? Not the floods of the movie or the fires of the movie, no. Not the characters of the movie, no. How much ever great that hero, heroine may be, they are all mere appearances. What alone exists? That white screen, that alone exists, isn't it? In the same way, there is a white screen in us, pure white. What is it? Consciousness. Whatever you see, you are aware of it. So what is the substratum? Awareness is the substratum. So their attention, one part of the mind is always upon that awareness in the light of which the whole world is seen. And what is the mistake we all commit? The ajnanis, the mudhas, what is the mistake they commit? This consciousness is forgotten. What is seen in consciousness is taken to be real, and then we get attached to things and beings and situations seen in this awareness. This is the mistake we commit. What does the Mahatmas do? Whatever they see, they don't give any importance or realities to what they see. They give importance to only in the light of awareness, in the light of which they see. This is the thing. This is what makes a difference between the wise one and the ignorant one. So therefore, buddhaha avikampena yogena mam bhajante bhavasamanvitaha mam bhajante. They worship me holding on to this truth without a wavering mind and with full of feelings, with full of love, with full of value. They worship. How do they do it? Macchittaha. Now this verse is the verse in which the wise people live their life with this knowledge. How do they live? Macchittaha. Macchittaha means what? Their chitta. Chitta means mind. Where is their mind? Mat, in me. So whenever Bhagavān says in me, what you should understand? Not some Vasudeva Krishna in some Dwapara Yuga. No. Who is that? Mat, me, I, me. Who is this? The awareness in us. So when Bhagavān is saying I, understand it is not the son of Vasudeva or son of Devaki who is referring to. He is not referring to that form of Krishna who was born in some yuga. No. When Krishna says I, we have to understand it as the consciousness in each and every one of us. That experience of awareness which is always with us. That is Krishna. So macchittaha or macchittaha, plural. So those buddhaha, the wise people, what do? One part of their mind is always in me. One part of the mind is always in me. Because every experience that we go through, every experience is blessed with that awareness, isn't it? I am aware of my thoughts. I am aware of what I see. I am aware of what I hear. I am aware of my existence. I am aware, I am aware, I am aware. Even the tension, worries and anxiety also. What do you say? I am aware. That awareness is Bhagavān. So even when one part of the mind is going through all these worldly experiences, another part of the mind, where is it? Holding on to the reality. This is called as macchittaha. Firmly fixing their mind upon me. Macchittaha. Just like when the fan is rotating, you wanted to see whether current is there or not. You switch on the switch and then fan rotates. Where is your mind now? Though you are looking at the rotating fan, your attention is upon electricity, isn't it? I want to know whether current is there or not. You switch on and see. Light is there. Okay. Fan is rotating. Okay. What does it mean? Electricity. Now, where is your mind? Your mind is not what is on the scene. Your mind is upon what is unseen. This is called as Jnana Chakshu, the eye of wisdom. With the eye of wisdom, you see something which is not actually seen there. You have studied about electricity, so therefore when the fan rotates, you know this rotation is because of electricity which is not seen. In the same way, the wise people, because of their knowledge of the scriptures, unless we study the scriptures, we will never know this. One part of their mind is always in the truth, which is awareness, which is illumining all their experiences. Macchittaha madgata pranaha. See the next term. Madgata pranaha. Their very prana is in me. Prana means what? Life breath. They consider me as their very life breath. And it is true also. Which Bhagavān himself is going to say, the life in each and every body, that is my expression. Life breath. These devotees, they love this Bhagavān as their very life breath. The example given in our Shastra is like the fish taken out of water. Have you seen the fish which is out of water? How does it behave? Miserable, isn't it? In the same way, when the devotees forget Bhagavān even for a fraction of a second, they become miserable. What is the proof of your devotion for God, love of God? Without God, to what extent you experience misery, to that extent your love has become mature. To what extent we become miserable without God, to that extent we have that intensity of devotion for God. So people who don't have any devotion, they have no problem at all. Without God also they have, in fact God is a problem for them. Isn't it? Very interesting. As you evolve in the path of spirituality, as your love for God grows, as your understanding about God matures, your love for God also increases in intensity. And then what happens? A stage comes when you are miserable without God. And you are absolutely at peace when there is God. As far as a devotee is concerned, what is misery? Misery is not a non-conducive environment. Death of near and dear ones, loss of job, no money, no food. These are called as non-conducive environment. As far as a devotee is concerned, misery is not non-conducive environment. What is misery? Forgetfulness of God is misery. It's an interesting definition. Whereas for an ordinary person, what is misery? When there is a non-conducive environment, there is misery. When the environment is very conducive, when there is success after success, lot of wealth and this and that, then that is happiness. As far as a devotee is concerned, when the mind is in the Lord, there is happiness. When the mind is holding on to reality, there is happiness. The moment the mind gets distracted, so when the mind gets distracted into the external world, that is the cause of misery. So we can test our depth of love for God then. These are the ways in which the devotees, the seekers, they measure themselves. How miserable I am without God. That's why Kunti Mata prayed. What is her prayer? Vipadas santu nashashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhavadarshanam. In Bhagavatam, this is the prayer of Kunti Mata. Oh Lord, give us more and more tragedies and problems. Because only when there is problem, I sincerely pray meditate upon you. And when I sincerely, from the depth of my heart, when I pray, I experience you. So therefore, give us more and more problems. See the kind of devotees and their prayer. In Ramayana also, Hanuman tells the same thing. Bhagwan, the greatest misery is when we are not able to remember you. After coming back from Lanka, Hanumanji says, Sita Mata is in real trouble, she is miserable. Then Bhagwan says, how can she be miserable? A devotee who is all the time remembering me can never be miserable. This is it's a bold statement made by Bhagavan. At that time Hanumanji says, Bhagavan, that is true. But the greatest misery for a devotee is when a devotee is not able to remember you. That's the greatest pain. So here, Madgata Pranaha. For the devotees, Bhagavan is their very life breath. Without food, without drink, you can live for some days. But without breathing, hardly 1 minute, 2 minutes, finished. So too, for a devotee, Bhagavan is like very life breath. And what do they do in their free time? Bodhayantav parasparam. Aha. The devotees, what do? They discuss about God with the like-minded people. This is how they spend their time. When two cricket lovers, they come together, what do they discuss? They discuss about cricket. Whatever subject you are interested in, you discuss that. Normally the elderly people, they talk about politics. They love this. Bodhayanta means what? It is not that you are giving some new information. No, both of them are informed. Because it is earlier said, Buddhaha, both of them are informed. Now what do they discuss? They discuss something which they already know. Exactly like when you discuss politics. You have certain information and you discuss. Or people discuss movies. Both of them have seen the movies. Now they discuss. Have you seen that part? This part? So in the same way, people, very interesting it is. In any function when people gather, you see how people automatically get segregated based on their tendencies, likes and dislikes, etc. One colony, they discuss politics. Another colony, maybe cricket. Ladies, when they come together, maybe gold and dress and cooking and all that, I don't know. It's very interesting that you get attracted towards those people who are having the same wavelength of yours. All subjects you are not interested. But those subjects which you are interested in, you find out and you would like to spend time with only those people, isn't it? So in the same way, these devotees, where do they go? They are not interested in politics or movie or this or that. They are not interested in gossip. They are not interested in talking evil of somebody else who is not there. They are not interested in all that. What do? Bodhayanta parasparam. They discuss about God. They discuss the glories of God. They discuss the leelas of God. They discuss the devotees of God. Bodhayanta parasparam. So in short, where is their mind when the discussion is everything related to God? Where is their mind? Their mind is in God. And that is what they want. Because they are happy only when, directly or indirectly, when the mind revels in God. So always the discussion is related to God. They come together. Very many times this happens when I go to somebody's house. They say, Swamiji, you know what happened? There was such a big problem in our family, and then we sincerely prayed to God, and then miracle happened. All the problem was solved. Right? Now who is the central figure there? Bhagavan. We had a problem. We didn't know what to do, and then we sincerely prayed, and somewhere such and such help came. Bhagavan, Swamiji, we are so grateful to God. So finally the mind goes to God. This is called as Bodhayanta parasparam. All of them, they discuss only about God, because that gives tremendous amount of peace and solace and strength. Kathayantascha mam nityam. What is kathayantaha? Kathayanta means speaking. They discuss about God, they speak about God, discuss the nature of God. Nityam, always. And in that, tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Tushyanti, they are very much contented. Ramanti, they revel in it. They revel in satsang. This is called as satsang. Like-minded people who love this kind of topics, they come together and then they discuss about things. This is the best way to spend the time. Like-minded people coming together, maybe some text can be, some Upanishad, some Bhagavad Gita, some Purana, it can be made as the base for discussion. Read some paragraphs and then discuss. So then what happens? So easily, number one, you gain knowledge. Number two, there is such an amount of peace and joy when the discussion is about God. This is how the wise people spend their time. Not in gossip, not in some evil talking, not in some worldly gossip. No. See the way the wise people spend their time. Macchittaha, madgata pranaha, bodhayantav parasparam. Kathayantascha mam nityam, tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. People who are not interested in God, they feel suffocated. Just like Bhagavān is the very life breath of a devotee, a person who has no interest in spirituality, when they get stuck in satsang, they feel suffocation, as though somebody has closed their nose. If you read this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, a very nice book. So Ramakrishna Paramsa used to have satsang with so many devotees. Very many times what happens, somebody comes, a real devotee comes along with some other worldly person who has no interest in this. So this worldly person becomes miserable. And he keeps on telling, shall we go? Shall we go? Shall we leave? And this person, wait a minute, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. This fellow is miserable because, he's not able to understand the head or tail of what is being discussed. And here a person, he really wants to sit and listen. He doesn't know how the time flies by. See the difference? Now all these things are told for what? Not to criticize somebody. Such and such person is a worldly person. No. This discussion is only to cultivate this kind of attitude in us, tendency in us. Discussing spirituality, discussing scriptures, this should really give us joy. This is the sign of a devotee. Who is a devotee? The one who loves God is a devotee. The one who has devotion for God is a devotee. So what is the sign of love? The sign of love is, whomever you love, any amount of discussion of your beloved doesn't bore you. This is a sign of love. A mother with a newborn baby. Any amount of discussion about that baby, mother just loves it. Isn't it? Such silly things she will come and tell. You know what happened today? That baby held on to my finger and that baby was not leaving only. Oh. And she would tell it to everybody. You know, today, for the first time, my child called me Amma. You know what happened today? The child smiled to me. Everything is a big event. And any amount of discussion, mother is not bored. Why? There is so much of love for the child, isn't it? In the same way, devotees also, they just love to speak about Bhagavān. Love to speak about glories of Bhagavān. And this is what happens in satsang. The more and more we should love this, reveling in the thoughts of God. These samskaras very, very important. Now, the question is, what will happen to a person who constantly exposes himself in such an environment of satsang, where constantly this kind of discussion take place. What happens to him? See the next verse, a beautiful verse. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam yena mamupayanti te. Tesham, those people. Who are those people? Those Buddhas, the wise people. Satata yuktanam, ever engaged. Satata yuktanam. Bhajatam priti purvakam, with lot of love and devotion, they worship me, they adore me, they glorify me, and constantly they are engaged in me. Satata yuktanam. How are they constantly engaged? As has been said earlier, when they are alone, they meditate, they do puja, different expressions, they chant, they contemplate, etc. When they are alone, Macchittaha, Madgata Pranaha. And when they are in group, what do? Bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam. They discuss only about God. So whatever they do, somewhere or the other, they are connected to God. Whatever profession they do, what do? They do it as karma yoga. Bhagavān, may this work which I do, may this duty which I am doing, this responsibility which I am fulfilling, let it be your worship. So the actions also they convert into worship. Whatever free time they have, they use it in order to remember the Lord. Even when they are traveling, what do? They are constantly doing namasmarana, japa. There is one person whom I know. So his traveling place from his home to his office, it is 20 minutes. So what does he do? Vishnu Sahasranama chanting. Because exactly 20 minutes it takes. So he used to chant Vishnu Sahasranama. By the time Vishnu Sahasranama is over, his office also. Now this way, this is called as Satata Yuktanam. Whenever there is some free time, immediately remember God. Satata Yuktanam. And he is doing not out of compulsion. No. Priti Purvakam. With lot of love he is doing. Even when he is doing a sadhana, there is lot of love, there is lot of interest. To such people, what do I do? Now see, this is very important. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. To such devotees who are ever engaged, thinking about me, remembering me, loving me, worshipping me, such people, what do? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give them buddhi yoga. I give them the right knowledge, the self-knowledge. With that, what happens? Yena mam upayantite. With this knowledge, they attain me, they become one with me. So what is the result of this constant satsang? What is the result of this constant sadhana, constant remembrance of God? See, the law of life is, whatever you sincerely choose in life, you will get it. This is a law. What is it that you want? You will get it. That is the law of the universe. Bhagavān will bless you with what you sincerely desire. Are you desiring the world? You will get the world. Are you desiring wealth? You will definitely get wealth. Are you desiring power, position, name, fame, etc.? Definitely you will get. But as far as a devotee is concerned, what does he want? He is not interested in all these. He is interested only in God. How does it express? What are you interested in? How will it express? It will express in the way you spend your time. Isn't it? A person who wants money, what will you do? His time will be spent only in earning money. He will have no time for anything else. Whatever you sincerely desire, you will find yourself working hard for it. you will find yourself finding time for it. This is the way you do. Isn't it? So as far as a devotee is concerned, who is he? He is the one who wants God. So naturally he will find time for everything that will take him nearer to God. Isn't it? Now all of you have come here. Why did you come here? Somewhere you are valuing the study of the scriptures. Somewhere you have value for God, devotion for God. Everything is there. Therefore, it is not that, only some people are very busy and they don't have time. It's not that. Everybody is busy. Whatever you sincerely desire, you will find time for it. This is the law. Even if you are busy, you say, no, this is very important. I must find time for it. And therefore, in spite of all your busy schedule, you have found time for this and now you are sitting in front. What does it mean? You sincerely desire this knowledge. Yes or no? So whenever a person sincerely desires for something, Bhagavān says, Tathastu. Now what is this devotee doing? Macchitta, madgata prana, bodhayanta parasparam, kathayantascha mam nityam. Now these are all the indication that this devotee wants me alone. So what does Bhagavān do? Okay, you want me? Tathastu. I will give myself to you. And this giving is in terms of knowledge. Because Bhagavān is already there. He is the very self. He need not come from somewhere outside. He is right there as the very self in us. But then we are not experiencing it. We are not experiencing because we don't know it. So ignorance is the barrier. So what Bhagavān does? He removes this barrier called ignorance. How can the barrier of ignorance be removed? Only through right knowledge. And that is what is called as Buddhi Yoga. Right understanding. So what does Bhagavān give? Oh, you want me? I am already there. Take. This is the right understanding. Take this. And then what happens? That person comes to know, Arey, that Lord whom I am seeking is right there in my own heart. Bhagavān, how do you give this Buddhi Yoga? Will you please elaborate? Yes, Arjuna, I will elaborate. Verse number 11. Teshamevanukampartham ahamajñānajam tamaha nāśayāmyātma bhāvasthaha jnānadīpena bhāsvatā teshāmevanukampartham ahamajñānajam tamaha nāśayāmyātma bhāvasthaha jnānadīpena bhāsvatā. Yes, teshām eva anukampartham. Anukampa. Anukampa means what? Compassion. I feel compassionate for them. And then what do? Atma bhavasthaha. Bhagavān says, I am there right in their heart. As the very self in them. Atma bhavasthaha. Sthaha means remaining as. Bhava, nature. Atma as a self. I am there, seated in their heart as the very nature of their self. I am not somewhere outside. I am right there in the heart of all beings. Remaining there, remaining as the self. What do? Nashayami, I destroy. Bhagwan, what do you destroy? Tamaha, darkness. What darkness, Bhagwan? Ajñānajam tamaha, darkness born out of ajñāna. Ajñāna means ignorance. So remaining in their heart, I destroy the darkness of ignorance. Bhagwan, how do you destroy darkness of ignorance? Jnana deepena bhasvata. Bhaswata, well lit, brilliant, Jnana-deepa. Jnana-deepa means lamp of knowledge. If you want to destroy darkness, what do you need? You need light, isn't it? What light? Light of knowledge. To destroy the darkness of ignorance, you need the light of knowledge. So I light this lamp of knowledge remaining in their heart, and with this they come to know this great truth. And what is the truth? This Bhagavān is my own higher self. This great truth they come to know. This is what I do. Why do? Out of my compassion for them. Now, here Bhagavān Shankaracharya writes a beautiful commentary. He elaborates this simile. So what does he say? Bhakti prasada sneha abhishiktena madbhavana abhinivesha vata iritena brahmacharyadi sadhana samskaravat prajnavartina virakta anthakarana adharena vishaya vyavritta chitta ragadvesha akalushita nivata apavarakasthena nitya pravritta ekagriya dhyana janita samyak darshana bhaswata. He gives a big commentary over this. Now we will see what is being said. So he says, now this lighting the lamp, this is the example given. For this lighting the lamp, what are the things necessary? There should be a vessel, right? Then oil should be there. Then there should be wick. And you must light that wick. And after that you have to keep a glass covering also to ensure that this flame doesn't get put off. So each one he has compared with something. That is what he has done. Bhakti prasada sneha abhishiktena. So what is the oil in this vessel? So Shankaracharya says this oil is divine grace. Bhagavan's grace. This grace which is born out of devotion for God. That is this oil in the vessel. And then Mad bhavana abhinivesha vata iritena. So this, what you call, glass covering. What is this glass covering? Mad bhavana abhinivesha. Intensity of meditation upon me is that glass covering. Okay. Brahmacharyadi sadhana samskaravat prajnavartina. Now you must have a wick also. What is that wick? It is prajna, intellect. An intellect which has been purified through various kinds of sadhana like brahmacharya, etc. That is the wick. Properly, what you call, prepared wick. Right. And then virakta antakarana adharena. Now you must have a vessel also. Well prepared antakarana is that vessel. We'll discuss it in detail. And then earlier I had said mad bhavana abhinivesha vata iritena. It is not vata iritena, is not that glass covering. It is the oxygen. That intensity of meditation is oxygen, is air. So you need two things. Number one, the air or the oxygen, because of which it can burn. And number two, wind should not be there. Yes. So what is this wind? Vishaya vyavritta chitta raga dvesha akalushita nivata apavarakasthena. So this glass covering is a mind which is free from all kinds of worldly thoughts, which is free from raga dvesha, because this raga dvesha is like the wind which puts off this light. So the glass covering is a withdrawn mind free from raga dvesha. And what is oxygen? Intensity of meditation. Yes. And then nitya pravritta ekagriya dhyana janita samyak darshana bhaswata. And what is that light? Samyak Darshanam is light. Perfect understanding. Right knowledge is at light. Now we will discuss. So what is the first thing? You must have a vessel. And what is this vessel? Anthakarana is the vessel. What is Anthakarana? So in our scriptures, we say Anthakarana Chatushtayam. What are the 4 types of inner instruments? Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Together they are called as Anthakarana Chatushtayam. That is the vessel. So Anthakarana is well prepared. What does it mean? Mana, mind. Buddhi, intellect. Chitta, memory. Ahankara, ego. These 4 things have to be prepared. How do you prepare mind? The nature of mind is to love. Mind loves. So, a mind which is filled with devotion. That is a preparation for mind. Intellect, buddhi. What is the nature of intellect? Valuing is the nature of intellect. What is important? So, buddhi values Bhagavān. Why? This is the only great reality of this world. That is a preparation for buddhi. So, mind is prepared. Buddhi is prepared. Third one is Chitta, memory. Whatever you have studied, whatever you have discussed, you remember. The remembrance is also necessary. The glory of God, the nature of God, all those things you must remember. Whatever you have heard, whatever you have understood, that remembering faculty in us is called Chitta or Chittam. Mana, Buddhi, Chitta. The 4th one is Ahankara, the ego. So after all these studies, I come to know the greatest villain, the greatest obstacle in my life is my own ego. So all the sadhanas are done to nullify this ego, to dissolve this ego, to eliminate this ego, to to sublimate this ego. So how do we do it? Through practice of devotion, you surrender unto God, the ego comes down. Through right knowledge, you come to know that this ego is an illusory ego, it has no existence at all, and thus you negate this ego. So this practice, what happens to the ego? It becomes very, very weak. So this preparation at the mind level, intellect level, memory level and the ego level, this is called the preparation of Anthakarana. That is the vessel. So in this vessel, what do you put? You put the oil of, what is oil? Divine grace. In this vessel only, divine grace can remain. Divine grace born out of devotion. So this oil is divine grace. And in this oil, you put the wick. What is that wick? Wick is the intellect. What kind of intellect? Which has been exposed to the knowledge of the scriptures. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is a preparation for this wick. Listening to the scriptures, that is Shravana. Thinking over it, Manana, so that all the doubts in the mind has been removed. Because the doubts are created by intellect. So that's an obstacle. So through Manana, what happens? You thoroughly reflect upon whatever has been said in the scriptures. Through reflection, all the doubts have gone. And then you try to live it. Intellectually, you try to execute whatever you have understood. So this way, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is a preparation for this wick. And once it has been prepared, oxygen is definitely necessary. What is oxygen? Intensity of meditation. Intensity of meditation is oxygen. And then what? You need a glass covering. So at the seat of meditation, what kind of mind you should have? Not the mind which is worrying about the world outside. No. At the seat of meditation, the mind will have the tendency to think of whatever has happened in the world, in the professional field, in the family field. Mind will bring all that. Now here at the seat of meditation, you make the mind free from all kinds of worldly thoughts. You make the mind withdrawn. You make the mind free from all kinds of ragadvesha, likes and dislikes. Such a mind which is not distracted by the outer world is the glass covering. External world is not able to affect the lamp. In fact, it is not the external world which disturbs us, it is our ragadvesha towards the external world which disturbs us. This has to be understood. World is never a problem. What is the problem? Our likes and dislikes. A bottle of rum is kept on the table, a teetotaler, he has no problem. But a drunkard, the moment he sees this bottle, he has a problem. Bottle is the same, but two people acting differently to the same situation. It is our own likes and dislikes. So that is why that glass covering is the ragadvesha of the mind. So a mind which is free from ragadvesha. And now that lamp is lit. So what is that fire? It is the knowledge of the self. The fire has that light. What does this light do? It destroys the darkness. What is the darkness? Darkness of ignorance. And then what is the result? There is only light. What is light? Clear understanding about everything is light. Clear understanding. Clear understanding means what? Who am I? What is this world? Who is God? What is my purpose in this world? What is the way to happiness, peace, etc.? This clear understanding is what is this light. So what does Bhagavān say? In such a devotee's mind, who is seeking me and me alone, who is not seeking the world outside, he is seeking Bhagavān. Bhagavān says, I give myself to him. How? I don't have to give him. I am already there in his heart. I make him aware of this great reality that I am his own higher nature. This knowledge I give. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give him knowledge. Now earlier Bhagavān has said, I am the Loka Maheshwara. Isn't it? Loka Maheshwara means what? The Lord of the whole world. So what all Bhagavān does, you just observe in your life, you will be amazed. So since Bhagavān is the Lord of the inner world and outer world, he only has to provide everything. Yes or no? So how does he, in the outer world, how does he provide Buddhi Yoga? First of all, he gives us opportunity to listen to such scriptures. Very many times we don't even get an opportunity to listen to scriptures. Very rarely such things happen. So first, he gives us an opportunity to listen to such scriptures. 99.9999% of the world, people of this world, they don't have an opportunity even to listen to this. First is this. So, let us try to see the Lord's grace even in such opportunities. He provides an environment where we get an opportunity to listen. Number one. Number two, he makes us free. Some people say, Swamiji, I want to listen, but my grandson's marriage. Okay, gone. That is also important. He provides opportunity and he also provides enough time for us to come and attend. So these are all the kind of grace actually you must try to recognize. So this is with respect to outer world. What about the inner world? Inside also he is only sitting. He only said, I am the Lord of the inner world also. What does he do sitting inside? He develops interest for such talks. Number one. Number two, remaining in the heart, he removes all the doubts. Who is removing the doubt inside? He. He gives us interest. He removes the doubt. And then finally, remaining in the heart, he removes this darkness of ignorance and he gives this knowledge also. Who is doing it? Bhagavān only is doing it. So therefore we have to say, it is only by his grace that we come to know about this great reality. Even the effort we put in spiritual practice, the inspiration to put effort also is given by him alone. And finally, when that knowledge dawns, you say, Bhagavān, I did not do anything. It is only by your grace everything happened. This is what a devotee feels from the depth of his heart. So, now comes a question raised by Arjuna. And it is this question which leads to this chapter of Vibhūti Yoga. So, this question we will see tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.